So now, are you ready for my question?
I'm ready for all of your questions. You're asking me like I'm gonna not, I'm worried about your questions.
I'm about to ask you if you can explain what a period is.
I don't think you need me
That's out
to
of the
explain.
question.
No. I mean, look, it's nothing for. It's not. ये कोई science नहीं की जड़ी मैं explain करनी है या कोई algebra दा एहो या formula that only Peter Verdi knows, because this is Mother Nature, right? This is what every mother, sister, daughter, daughter-in-law, sister-in-law goes through, right? Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need somebody as an idiot or stupid as me to explain that to some such educated people on this group, then
You're a professor. You're
then
very.
I'm an honorary professor, and ਉਹ 'ਚ ਮੇਰਾ ਕੋਈ ਇੰਨਾ role ਨਹੀਂਗਾ, ਉਹ ਧੱਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਣਾਤਾ. But what I'm trying to say is, look, I don't think people, it's not that they don't understand what a period is. It's the discussion of that. That's what people are afraid of.
So the reason that I asked
It gets taught to you in school. When you're growing up, you get taught. It's not something you come home and discuss. It's not something that it's been discussed openly.
Right. It's not discussed openly. And the reason that I asked you this was not to like put you on the spot and, ask you to give us like a biology lesson. But there's a lot of men who don't know that women have periods and what happens to them. I know a lot of men in Punjab who only found out what a period was after they got married. So that for me is a problem because they
Stop that talk.
serious. I'm being
Listen,
serious.
I don't know which part of Punjab you go to or which country you belong to.
It's mostly Punjab. I'm being serious. Like Punjabi men in general are not very educated or versed on knowing what happens to a woman when she's on her period.
Let me tell you something. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੌਕਾ ਦਿਓ ਚੰਦ ਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਜਾਣ, right? Period, they know, they understand, they don't feel comfortable in talking about this. It's not a topic that we talk about in our households.
Why?
And I'll tell you something. One other thing, we say Punjabi men. When we started period discussions at the Gurdwara and we put a period policy, the biggest lashback I had was from the women, not the men. Yes.
Why? What did they say?
Maybe you want to speak to Manjeet Kaur Gill and bring her onto your
next guest.
Right. Well, then maybe she will tell you the backlash I got from the Bibia in the kitchen. Tu ki karna? Kediyan gallan karda? Tera dimag sahi hai? And I'm like saying, look, it's something we need to provide. So it's not a discussion I'm saying it should be happening over, every day is a discussion, but you should be comfortable in speaking about this because it's part of human nature. It's part of the female being that once a month she is going to go through her menstrual cycle. It's nothing to be ashamed about.
Right. So there's a question which is like, why would there be backlash?
Why will they be back? I'm going to leave that for your next show because
Manjeet, the backlash that you experienced.
He was part of it because it was a Binti project we were running. So I'm going to leave that for her to answer because I don't want to stick the sting out of the tail. It'd be nice coming from a woman.
Okay. So what is a period policy? You have installed it, the only one in the whole world in a Gurdwara. What is that?
A period policy is that we recognize that women have periods. We recognize they once a month they come onto their menstrual cycle. We recognize the fact that some people cannot afford pads. Women cannot afford pads, and sometimes they may be able to afford pads, but if that time has come and you're sitting in the Gurdwara, there should be a facility for you to go downstairs in the women's lavatories, that there should be a machine there for you to take out a pad or a tampon and be able to use it in dignity.
Is that a free machine or is that a paid machine?
No, free.
Okay.
Free. And
good. That's wonderful.
if you can't afford it, you can come to the Gurdwara and you can get your week supply from the Gurdwara free of charge. Now, we go on airlines, you get a toothbrush, you get some aftershave, you get a shaver, you get all of this.
Yeah.
Try going on an airline and asking them for a pad. And the women will run around and get one out of their own bags to give you, but it's not readily available.
I've been there. Yeah.
Pubs, condoms are available, Viagra is available.
Yeah, cigarettes, everything else is
Everything's available. Why isn't this available for a woman? I mean, how bad can it be? You're on a flight and your period has started, and you are now. I mean, it's not nice, and
I agree with you.
That's the period policy.
So I've been there. I've been in a plane, and I asked the air stewardess, and I asked them if they had any menstruation pads. I'm calling it a menstruation pad because I've been educated. Otherwise, I'd call it a sanitary pad, right? Yeah. And they didn't. And there was a woman who was sitting a couple of rows ahead who'd heard me, and then she handed me one. So women look out for women in that way. But I agree with you that the institutions don't cater for supporting that. I love, and I'm grateful that you guys have done that at the Gurdwara Central Khalsa Jatha. That is amazing. So you have free menstruation pads and products for anybody that needs them, and they can go there and get their supplies.
Hindu, Sikh, Muslim, Christian, just come there. It's go to the toilet. They're there. If not, if they ran out and you need a supply, speak to one of the Bibiyan there or the Granti's wife, and she will make sure you get your supply. And that's thanks to
the Granthi. Will he give it to you, or do you have to speak to the Granti's wife?
No, you can speak to the Granthi as well.
Will he give out menstruation pads?
Absolutely. Why shouldn't he?
Good. I just want to make sure. I want to make sure that you did your training right.
Listen, we don't do things in half-heartedly. They ain't gonna change him or his way. It's just sometimes women feel slightly embarrassed to ask a male. So the female is there to ask, but if you're comfortable in taking it from the Granthi, then he'll be happy to hand you a pad over.
Wonderful. I appreciate that. And what is your opinion about women not being allowed to do seva, especially in the Divan Hall where all the prayers and everything happens with Guru Granth Sahib Ji, in the Gurdwara, when they have their period?
I'm still struggling on this because I mean, besides the fact you have to be clean and you've got a shanan and everything else, I'm still looking for it in the Guru Granth Sahib where it says you can't.
It doesn't say it in the Guru Granth Sahib that you cannot.
Okay. So then you've just answered your own question.
No, but my question is not about in the Guru Granth Sahib. My question
that's the only thing that I work with. If it's in the Guru Granth Sahib, that's the only thing we follow.
I agree with you, but in society, and I'm not telling you somebody else's experience. I have been in situations where I was young, right? And when you're younger, you always go to the Granthi, right? The head priest, to go and ask them for guidance because you're in fear of making a mistake. And I was told that I'm not allowed to sit behind the Guru Granth Sahib to take a hukam if I'm on my period. I've also been told in Gurdwara that women, when they're menstruating...
Who told you that?
This was a Gurdwara, more than one Gurdwara in the Midlands. This was when I was growing up. And this was the norm. So the women, they would just pass this on to the girls that when you're menstruating, you can't do that. You can't be in the main divan. You can't give prashad. You can't do chaur sahib. You can't sit on the stage, right? Because there was this perception of women being dirty when they're on their periods. So that's not just one Gurdwara, that's lots of Gurdwara that exists in India as well. And it's not outwardly spoken. They're not going to announce this from the stage, but it's like one of those like unwritten rules that is just implemented.
Look, I mean, somebody said here Gurdwara need to have a reform. Maybe that time has come, but it's you cannot call a woman dirty if she's on her periods. Where that blood is coming out of, that's where kings have come out of. That's where we've all come out of. So let's not even. That topic it's a non-starter, and anybody who picks on it's going to lose. So, I think the comment was absolutely correct. Reform is required in Gurdwara. Mm-hmm. And reform is required within our own communities and within our own families to discuss this topic. And people don't discuss it because politicians don't want to talk about it. They're too scared. Celebrities don't want to talk about it because they'll have a backlash. So it's left with people, Z-listers like me and you. Well, like me, you're an A-lister. Like me, you come and have a chat about these things.
Right. But I'm glad that you're open to have this conversation. And I'm also really, really grateful that you're one of the few men who are actually helping to advocate this in the Gurdwara spaces, and to support women coming forward. I want to ask you that as somebody who's quite involved in the Sikh community, right? How do you feel that we can create more equal spaces for men and women?
Being open, having a discussion.
But how do you do that when the people that you're trying to converse with are from that old mindset?
Reform.
What, kick them out?
That's not what reform means. Reform means you allow the younger generation to come in. There should be a simple rule: over the age of X, you come off the Gurdwara committee and you can go on to an advisory board, which we all need our elders to go to. We all need them because of their expertise, their experience, their know-how. So you have that advisory board, an honorary advisory board where they moved on to, but the active role of the committee should be of anything. There shouldn't be a committee in Gurdwara, full stop. There should be sevadar. There should be doing seva. And you're on that seva role for 2 years, and then you allow the next sevadar to come on, and allow the next sevadar to come on. And that's what it should be, and that's what reform is.
So hopefully we can help to build that and help to somebody said not kick them out, just ask them to retire politely. I don't think that Punjabis know how to retire.
Punjabis don't retire.
There's a couple of things here. So Bob made a comment, Bob Ben, he said it's the same in Islam as well. A woman can't pray even, she can't fast during her periods.
That's correct, because that actually is in the Quran. So it does actually say that she shouldn't fast, because fasting can take a toll on your body. So she shouldn't be fasting while she's on a period. It's not because it's the negative, you can't fast because you're dirty. It's because you are going through a biological process in your body, and then not eating at the right times and having the right dietary input, that could cause you a problem. So we mustn't twist it to make it look at a negative. So Ben, I think it's more for the fact it's in the benefit of the lady, where in India or in some Hindu families, they say a woman cannot go into the kitchen because she's dirty. It's not because she's dirty. She can't go into the kitchen because she shouldn't be working. She needs rest. That for that week, or at least for the first 2-3 days, the body is going through such, not only the body, mentally she's going through all sorts of roller coaster rides. And that's why they wouldn't allow her to go into the kitchen. It's more to have a rest, not because you're dirty. But then we've just turned it around because we're too ashamed to talk about this and say, so the word we use is, I'm dirty, or mere kapde aaya, or it's time of the month.
Right.
It's all of these words we use where you can just, not have that open discussion. And, I don't know.
No, that was a really nice way to explain it. That makes sense. Energy wise, you're going to be depleted. So I think that's a nice way to look at it. But thank you for addressing that. So we're coming to the end of the show now. I've just got one or two small questions for you, but this has been really, really fabulous. I've enjoyed this so much. Are you ready for my question?
I'm ready. Is this your rapid fire question?
Not yet. They're coming next. That's right after this. Okay. If you could change one thing in the world, what would it be and why?
For me, it would be equality. Balance. Yeah, equality. It would be balanced, because I think the world is totally unbalanced. The importance to the female is not given in the workplace, in the corporate world. It's just given as she's there to make babies, clean the house, make the food, and that's it. But the balance, when you have a board or a board of directors, and you have a balance on there of male and female, the productivity and the mindfulness is a lot more that comes out. But then at the same time, the woman is the woman's worst enemy, not the man.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's a nice thing. I mean, there's all types of equality that we need, like economical and social and everything else. But I think just gender equality would be a great place to start.
If we can do that, that would be, we're halfway there. But then it's women that don't allow this to happen.
Okay.
And of course, men. But then they play a big part in it.
Saying, and I was surprised by what you told me, that when you guys introduced the period policy, that it was women that were more opposing of it than men. I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised after you mentioned it. It makes sense, because it's very uncomfortable to have something that's been labeled as shameful now being talked about openly. It's difficult to transform that. So I think it's a process to do that, and to build the community, the whole community, male and female, up together, so that we can actually support each other and snap out of that judgment and shame.